Evening all, welcome back to RimWorld, which you've got to be a bit careful when you say that if you've had a few. Anyway, this is RimWorld. This is my original save, so I know we showed you the beginnings of the game in the last one. I've actually come back to my original base because it's like Dwarf Fortress. It takes a long time to build these things up, and it's a bit like a train set. There's a bit of pride in building this. So this is my base as it stands at the moment. Let me give you the guided tour. So we have effectively an armed fortress. As you see, this outer wall here is made of granite. So that's a very sturdy, strong wall. We've got automated doors. So these doors sense and open for friends and obviously don't for enemies. And we then have a number of solar panels all the way around it. We then, if I zoom in, have mortars. So these are steel siege mortars. And then we have our Gatling gun kind of improvised turrets on the outside. And these are incredibly useful. Let me explain why this guy's so fast. You're probably looking at that guy going, what the hell? It's because he's got bionic legs. Oh, no, he doesn't. Right leg. Oh, okay. Maybe there's a bug there. He did have an augmented leg. It's probably just because he's dragging himself along with his prosthetic arm. Anyway, long story. The game is incredibly great for producing moments, like I said at the end of the last video, where a guy got his leg shot off and they orbitally dropped a leg in to me, and I was able to then sew his leg on, and he was able to walk again, which is just glorious. Anyway, so we then have our kind of inner complex here, which is the original base. Now this is an inner courtyard because these are the orbital trade beacons, right? So as ships come into orbit, I have my comms desk here. As ships come into orbit, I'm notified of it, and it'll be a type of ship, you know, a kind of arts or exotic trader, a bulk trader, an arms trader, a slaver, something like that. And I can then decide if I want to trade with them. So I can then send somebody to communicate with them, and then anything within the range of these orbital trade beacons here, I can then sell these products to them. It's important because you do need cash. This game is all about cash in my mind. We then have our geothermal generator. This is because there's a steam vent right there, and we built a geothermal generator over it. And then we have like our workshops. You can see here, that's just our workshop. We're building, you know, we're making kind of, everything has to be built. So because there's a full year cycle within it, so autumn, winter, blah, 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 you have to build clothes for winter. So we have parkas, as you can see. We have like hats and dusters and jackets and pantaloons. You can build anything, literally. And that's the idea, is you can then equip your player or your characters with gear. So you can see here, this guy's got synthread pants and t-shirt, but he's also then got a parka. So in the cold, so we're in May at the moment, so he probably doesn't need it right now, but in the cold, your characters will die if they get exposure. Conversely, they'll also die of heat exposure as well, so you need to just check out for that. This guy's armed with an Uzi. I did download a mod which included hundreds of guns, both modern and ancient, and sci-fi as well. So there's obviously there's a load of good mods for this. I'll probably put a list of what mods we've got on there. There's Lee Enfield rifle. That's an antique now, but I've decided that I wanted everybody in my colony to have the same style. So you can see they've got the grey parka and the cowboy hat, and I love that. You know, I could fit them with blue hats. I could fit them with bobble hats. There's a lot you can do here. So I just decided that would be nice to do. We then have our internal area. This is then the bedrooms, and I've color coded them with carpet. We then have a freezer. So you see we're actually getting a cooler here. So that's making a frozen area. So that's -9. So all of the food we create won't spoil. Very important, very, very important that your base will die because it runs out of food. A few more things. We have heaters. So you see here we've got a heater system within the game, so we can actually heat the rooms, because obviously people get upset if they sleep in a cold room, you know, as I'm sure most people would. We then have our battery bank. As you can see, our battery bank is excessive. There's a lot there. Then we have, this is going to be a bit strange. I'll come back to that. We have our hospital bay. So this is where, as you get injured, you need somewhere to treat your people. Another battery bay. We then just have a reception hall. Red carpet. That's right. Damn right. You be pimping, yo. And then we have a crematorium somewhere. There we go. A marble crematorium. So instead of burying bodies, because obviously a lot of people die now when you get to the later parts of the map, you can just burn the bodies. So there's no disease, there's no waste, etc. We then have machining tables for taking apart mechanoids. Mechanoids attack me quite often now, but that's another story. We have the electric smelter, and then obviously Taylor's workbench and so on. And then we have this. This is a prison cell. And you're thinking, that's a rather luxurious prison cell. It's designed to be, because what you actually want is when people are captured, well, things happen. Pirates will come and attack my base, and they get stomped into the ground and curb stomped, right? It doesn't mean they always die. If they survive, we capture them and we bring them to this room here, and then we basically convince them to join us. I would say probably 5 or 6 of my dudes here were originally pirates, hell-bent on killing me, and they've ended up coming to join us because we've patched them up. We've, on a few of them, Gerard particularly, we shot his arm off. So I actually bought an arm and put an arm on him. Was it jaw? I forget. But anyway, we were able to do quite a lot with them. So there's a huge amount you can actually do. You can even go through. So look, we can harvest. So if you capture someone, you can actually just harvest parts, their body parts, like hearts and kidneys and that. It sounds macabre, but I tell you what, it's bloody brilliant idea. I love it. We then have a kind of, this is further cells, because sometimes we capture more than one person. So these are just, beds that we can turn into cells or medical as well. And then we have our kind of external. Now, the external bits you're probably drawn to are kind of greenhouses. These are our food. These are food. This is potatoes and strawberries. That's what we exist on out here. We then have a kind of fine silk. We then have general cloth, more potatoes, more silk, and then loads more of the silk. So we're kind of, we're using these as environments that we control. So as you can see, they're all independently heated. So they grow year round. Now we also have the ability to cool them year round as well. So these are just constantly growing. So basically, it doesn't matter how hot or cold it is, we are constantly growing crops. And that's been great because I've got a huge amount of food now, and that's working really well. Okay, so let me just unpause. So if we go back to our map, we then have wind turbines. As you can see, these kind of have then just a standard wind turbine. I'm just going to capture those because there's lots of things come from space. Cargo pods crash all the time, bringing cargo to you. And if you look around the map, see there's another load there. You can then just send your guys out to come claim them. That's a steam geyser. Let's have a look around. Some more ruins, some squirrels. Tortoise, that's another steam generator that I produced. Yep, I'd say that's looking pretty much it. Now we do have more cryogenic casks here that we're going to crack open, I think, now. But right now, not right now. I think really the key thing is just to stabilize what we've got. So if I kind of come in here, you can sort of see that, again, the problem is that it is a communal community. That's a terrible choice of words, but it's all I can think of. So that people don't get on. And if people don't get on, they get angry and arguments start, and then you've got a big problem. So it is an odd game in that you find yourself drawn into the story of it so much. I know it sounds kind of a little bit twee, but I mean, this to me, as a Dwarf Fortress fan for years and years, this game is just beautiful because it's Dwarf Fortress in the future. And there's space lasers, there's space rays, you can do so much with it, it's wonderful. But yet you can also do bow and arrow. So you would, if you wanted, build a base around tribal mechanics. You could even have tribal wear. You could build, let me show you, you could just build bow and arrows and longswords and gladius and stuff. So you can even relive the medievalness of Dwarf Fortress in this game. Just bear in mind that some things will attack you with artillery, so having a sword is not going to do too much. But I would say this game is by far one of the finest games I've played in a long time. Stuff's always happening, so you see here we have, what's that? A male mercenary. These guys are kind of armed. That's a rather large lady. She's equipped with a dragon. Interesting. Webley, Fosbury auto revolver, Colt police positive. But you see here that these are security guards of that. That looks a bit like a mechanoid to me, but it's not. It's a male mercenary apparently. But he's carrying a T9 incendiary launcher. That's a fire grenade firing gun. So I don't think we want to mess with that. We probably have a bit of a problem because some of our factions, as you can see, we're not very friendly with a lot of people here. We're friendly with one group and, probably everyone else hates us. And because in this world we are here, so obviously this is not the easiest place to get to, but I tell you what, they can still get to you if they want. So yeah, need to be a bit careful of that. It's Scarpy's birthday. Now, this Scarpy was the person who I was telling you about who had their legs shot off. So I basically thought, well, that's that person dead. They're never going to survive that. But because of the space network, I was able to literally have a leg drop in, and we were able to save them. So it is a wonderful, wonderful game in terms of just how much you can do with it. There is also an absolutely brilliant modding scene for it. So if I just go to, I don't know, some of the mods, if I find them, you can have things like stargates. You can actually set up stargates so you can share base resources with other worlds. You can create cryptic sleep caskets, so if somebody gets too injured, or if you just want to put a number of your population into deep sleep, you could have a base literally sat deep sleeping. You also have the ability to build a spaceship. I haven't done this yet, so this is probably what we're going to do in the next few videos, is start to explore that, but it needs an awful lot of metal, so I think we're just going to look through some of the mods and start towards that, because you can actually build a spaceship. But let me show you some of the research items. There are some really exciting research things, like allows you to build a transporter station and reactivate a derelict ship in orbit. How cool is that? And these are all kind of the mods. So replicators, laser drills, metal fabrication. We need to do that. Yeah, so we need to definitely do that. Craftsman technologies, advanced lighting. Yeah, there's so much we need to do. Personal shields, that's nice. But look, Stargate astro navigation, so you can actually target your Stargate. Oh, this game is going to be played for some time, so I hope you're enjoying it, because I think we are definitely going to throw ourselves into it. So I think next time, let's wrap up this video. I think next time we're going to look at maybe what we want to do with this base, because this base is relatively strong. I've been attacked quite a bit, but so far I've survived, but I have lost people. So I think the next thing to start thinking about is the defenses. We need to figure out the metal situation. We don't have enough steel, and we've mined everything out. So I think we're going to have to start thinking about the replicator technology or something like that, and just get that off the ground, because otherwise we are just going to slowly decay, and that can't be done. But I think certainly we're going to have to start looking at really just what this base is going to do. You know, are we growing the right things, and so on. So I think join us next time as we delve deeper into this wonderful game called RimWorld.